I've always thought of time as being this intangible asset that I can't grasp. I can feel it right now, the pressure of it, it's fading away. I wish I had more of it, or at least slow it down a little. Time is what we want most, and yet it is what we use the worst. Time is currency. We spend every moment of our lives on it. It's finite. It can't be replenished, sped up, or paused. Time changes all things, for better or for worse. It's a measure of progression or demise. It's history. Time is both cruel and kind. What is done cannot be undone, but over time we can forgive. They say time is a healer. It's the great equalizer for everyone. It often feels like there are not enough hours during the day. As soon as our alarm goes off, we are constantly rushing in order to get things done throughout the day. There are deadlines to hit, meetings to organise, emails to respond to, and despite our best efforts to stay organised, things still seem to slip through the net. There is no doubt that time is at a premium, and nowadays there is a perception that life is a little bit faster than it used to be. Our obsession to keep this relentless pace of life seems to be spiralling out of control. We hear things like high speed, shorter timescales, and even speed dating. Faster is just sexier, and as a result of this, we generally feel more rushed. It's more apparent that as a society, we feel more stressed, anxious, and pressed for time. And this loss of control that we feel, it's an asset that we would love to take back control. And these concerns are reflected in our work life also. We often hear the phrase work-life balance. And if the topic of work comes up in conversation, I often ask, do they enjoy work? Because this tells me two things. Do they feel fulfilled? And also how they view time. I mean, I've been in jobs where I felt like the time that I was spending on work was encroaching on my personal time. And the lines were just getting blurred. There was no distinction between the two. Time had almost become irrelevant. Look at this chart, and depending on what country you're in, most of our time is spent working and sleeping. So making the most out of what you have is vitally important. And I've come across various indicators that will help you tell if time is slipping away. If we're lucky enough to set our own agendas and deadlines for the day, we are having an active approach rather than reactive. The majority of things are scheduled for us, and we are merely reacting to things that we don't really want to do. So something as getting up in the morning could be a struggle, or going to that meeting that you've been forced to go to. If we have unnecessary events in our diary, this adds stress and has a knock-on effect if things don't go to plan. Have you ever taken on a project thinking that you'll get it done in a day or so, and as the deadline approaches, it's still not finished? This would happen to me in my early days of working, and I'd quickly learn most plans fail to go to plan smoothly, and it's always beneficial to account for an adjustment period. People in general are not great predictors of time. When you become realistic in your expectations of yourself and how long things take, you will allow time for things and be less likely to cram so much so that you're rushed and you don't finish. This might mean letting go of other people's ideas of what you should get done in that day. We also tend to underestimate our workload because of the phenomenon called the planning fallacy. It's a type of cognitive bias where we fail to accurately predict how much time we need to complete a task. Whenever we're making errands, going to the food shop, clothes washing, sorting out the bills, basically life admin, our assumption is that we can get these things done quickly. We are overly optimistic about how long things really take. What you thought may take a couple hours has now bled into the early afternoon, leaving you feel rushed that half the day is gone. You don't prioritise. A failure to prioritise life will have you feeling like time is flying by. If we don't discriminate between what is primary to us and what is secondary, we will never have enough time. Not all activities are equal, and unless you start writing down your activities once in a while, you will have no idea where your time has gone. There's a saying that if you fail to plan to fail. One way to tackle constantly feeling pressed for time is to work on prioritising what you want to get done. Think about how long a task actually takes, bearing in mind any interruptions or breaks you want to take. We should consider getting better at understanding what is critical, what doesn't have to be done now, and what only needs to be done well enough. Being busy is a great excuse for a lot of things. It's also an excuse for not taking care of yourself, and can be linked to low energy. Our energy levels are so important about how we feel about time. If you're tired and uninspired, you won't feel like you have enough time. You need to have a healthy mix of some highlights that help you come up for air, and at least have some memories and points of reference for the day, week, or year. Be sure to mix the bitter with the sweet, because all work and no play makes a dull life. The time v money battle makes it seem that time is even in less supply. Either you work all the hours of the day and still not have enough money, or you have enough money but you have no time to spend it. We've all heard the phrase, time is money. The truth is, when people acquire more wealth, they feel even more time pressure. So many expensive hobbies and travel options that they have, but so little time to even enjoy it. And when you add the added aspect of money with time, we have the perception that we should be using our time a little bit more wisely. You're living without pleasure. I touched on it before, but one of the biggest illusions of time is that time is flying past and everything just fades into a blur of work. Eat, sleep, repeat. If you're not enjoying what you do, then you will feel like life is passing you by. Living is also about passion, enjoyment, and fulfillment, because work takes up such a big part of our life. So in this instance, you need to include happy moments in other ways. Scheduling time with friends, exercise, or cooking, if that's what brings you joy. Having things to look forward to will stop you procrastinating, and it will help you to look forward to something. There's no better feeling than feeling the anticipation of doing something that you know that you're going to like. Society's view on time. There is an expectation where you should be at a particular age. Most people in their 20s have this milestone that they should achieve X by their 30s. This further elevates the pressure to hurry up to get things done. There are times where I look back at my younger self where I wished I had a different view on time. I thought being busy was a great excuse to do a lot of things. Unfortunately, being busy turned into some kind of special status symbol, and often being busy was a synonym of thinking that I was more important than I actually was. Value in time isn't about rushing to do as much as possible and achieving optimal productivity. It's not about the length of time, but the quality of life that matters in the end. While the last few years has produced so much that has been turbulent and out of our control, we can choose to invest our resources in health, time, and energy, for example. So we aren't trapped in this cycle of perpetual busyness. It's human nature to want to do great things. And along with human nature, the more we think about all these things that we want to achieve, it adds pressure, amplifying this intangible feeling of lost time. I've come to realise, since time is finite for all of us, everything we do in life contains a trade-off. There are consequences for each actions we take. Some are obvious in the moment and some are not so visible. And as we nudge against each hour, if we don't get greedy with our time, we will soon realise that time is on our side and is actually our ally. And against the backdrop of some careful planning and action, you will stand the test of time. And if you've reached the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please smash the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And I'll see you guys in another one. Bye bye.